Hello everyone, today we are going to be learning about Web Analytics Fundamentals or 7 key Web Analytics techniques. So number one, we are going to start with Website Visibility Report Card, something that you are already familiar with if you have seen the presentation on online marketing research. As you might remember, it all starts with diagnostics tools such as Alexa, the tool that helps you identify your traffic rank compared to your competitors on the internet, or link popularity, a very useful tool that helps you identify and learn your number of incoming links toward your website, as well as compete.com and similar websites that help you estimate your traffic and your competitors' traffic on the internet. And also check PageRank, very useful tool that helps you learn your GPR, your Google's PageRank, as you remember this green Google PageRank toolbar. Then also Web Position, the tool that helps you learn your search engine rank on Google, Yahoo, and other key search engines. Or Social Mention, the tool that helps you track your mentions and number of followers and likes on social media. Finally, many Chrome, Google extensions and plugins that once you install them on your Chrome browser can help you track various statistics such as your competitors' search engine rank, traffic, link popularity, etc. So all these tools actually help you create your own 1 or 2 page overview of your website, which includes all the important stats and numbers such as Alexa and Compete and GPR and many others. And the simple report helps you identify, once again, your visibility on the internet. So that's a starting point. That's where you learn some first information about your website and its current relative position to the competition. The second tool that you are learning today is actually something new. It's called Google Webmaster's Tools. And it's at www.google.com/webmasters. In order to use this tool, you need to open a Google Webmaster account, which is simple to do. Just go to www.google.com/webmasters and with your existing Google account, open a Webmaster's account. Then you will need to add and start tracking your own website. Once you log in and once you register your own website, you will be able to track various statistics such as, for example, how people find your website, what kind of search queries are they using, how many impressions and clicks actually happened on your website as a result of those search queries. Also, how many pages of your website have been indexed by search engines. This is very useful statistics, helping you identify possible problems with your website. So once again, index status helps you understand how much search engines know about you. In addition to that, if you register your website with Webmaster Tools, you can get an idea what possible HTML improvements on your website are. For example, you might have, like in my case here, duplicate meta descriptions, or maybe too long or too short meta descriptions, or maybe you have some issues with your title tag or some other aspects of your website. So here's the place to learn how to improve the HTML of your website. And the third tool, Google Analytics. Google Analytics is a very popular tool that helps you understand the traffic on your website, where the traffic is coming from, what's going on your website, etc. In order to open a Google Analytics account, you need to go to google.com/analytics and with your Google account, set up your own Google Analytics. Once you do that, you will be assigned a certain number, and that's your Google Analytics number that's specific to your website. For example, you might have a couple of different websites, so you're going to have different numbers, Google Analytics numbers, specific to each website. The next step is to go to your WordPress website, to your admin, and to go to Plugins, find Installed Plugins, And that's where you will find the plugin that you already installed. If you followed the presentation on website development with WordPress, you have already installed plugin called All-in-One SEO Pack. You don't have to have this plugin. You can have Google Analytics for WordPress plugin, which is another useful plugin. And once you actually have your Google Analytics website number, you can go to the plugin like this one, go to options, and as a next step, you will copy paste your Google Analytics number specific to your website, for example, abcconsulting.com. That's what you also need to type. And that's pretty much it. From that moment on, Google will track the activity on your website with your permission, and you will be able to analyze what exactly is happening on your site. For example, once you set it up and log into google.com Analytics, one of the first views that you want to see is Audience Overview. In other words, you want to know who are the visitors of your website. On each section of Google Analytics, Google has placed a video that is an excellent way to learn about what is this particular section actually doing for you. What kind of information can you look for? So I highly recommend, as you serve Google Analytics account, to review these videos and educate yourself and learn what Google Analytics can actually do for you. Let us now review a couple of insights that you can gain from using Google Analytics. First of all, as you log in, you're going on the left-hand side of your Google Analytics account, you're going to see a number of tabs like shortcuts. That's like a bookmark where you can actually quickly access certain most important reports in your Google account. Or you can use intelligence events. For example, let me show you this. Google Analytics will actually notify you whenever there are certain alerts on your website. For example, on this particular website, I'm having increased bounce rates. What are the bounce rates? Those are the events when visitors come to your website and they just quickly bounce back, or they exit your website just because they didn't find appropriate information. So that's called bounce rate. So Google will actually alert you whenever there are some issues with the traffic on your website. So once again, this is called intelligence events. In addition to that, you can also check what's going on in real time on your website. How many people are right now on your website and what are they doing? The audience tab is actually probably the most important one, especially for the beginners. Once again, you have the overview here with the most important information and the video. One of the reports that you're going to see on that same page is a number of sessions and users on your website during the period of, say, 30 days, or whatever you specify here. Number of, for example, pages per each session. Average duration of each session, which is here 3 minutes and 35 seconds. And earlier mentioned bounce rate, percentage of new sessions here as well. And also then further, you can make an analysis of a language and or maybe country or territory, like in this case. With this particular website, we have 79% of visitors that come from Canada, and 11% from United States and 2% from India, etc., etc. So once again, we are reviewing the audience report, and now let's go to the location. Here we can see one more time that out of your 3,800 sessions, quite a few are from Canada, but also United States, India, United Kingdom, etc. And you can actually see the behavior of your visitors from different countries. Nice overview of the audience on your website now based on location. We are still using the audience tab. Another look is a look at what kind of browsers do your users use. In this particular case, we still have, interestingly, Internet Explorer as being number one. Then we have Apple Safari, interestingly, and we have Chrome and Firefox. In a similar way, you can analyze What operating systems are your users using, and also who is their service provider. Also, you can analyze, for example, what kind of screen resolution are your users, your website visitors having, etc., etc. So very useful numbers to help you understand who your visitors are. If you go to mobile, we are still in the audience tab. If you go to mobile and overview, you can see if your users are using desktop computer or mobile or maybe even tablet. In this particular case, we have 14 plus 13. That's actually 27% of users, almost 1 out of 3, who are accessing my website through some sort of mobile devices. And here you can see an overview of how long do they stay on the website. For example, if they are on the desktop, they're spending 4 minutes on the website, as opposed to on mobile phone only 2 minutes, and tablet would be somewhere in between. In addition to audience tab, there is super important acquisition tab. Acquisition tab helps you understand where are your visitors coming from. So how do you acquire those visitors? Are they coming from search engines, or maybe from some other websites, or maybe people are directly typing the domain name? So that's where acquisition tab can help you. So once again, you have video that helps you understand the acquisition part of Google Analytics. And let's go to the overview. As you can see here, you can see that 82% of the website is actually organic search in this particular case, whereas green bar indicates the percentage, the proportion of those people who directly type in the URL of the website. Also, you have referral search here, and social is pretty much 0 for this particular website. Organic search, direct, referral, and social. Now we can further analyze this organic traffic coming from search engines, review the video, and analyze from what search engines, for example, from Google or from Yahoo or from Microsoft, are those people coming from. In addition to that, we can study behavior of our website visitors. In other words, not only how long are they staying on the website, but are they coming directly to the home page and then going to about page and then to contact page and then leaving your website, or perhaps they are coming to certain landing page and then getting to home page and then getting to about page. So really, what do they do once they come to your website? Behavior tab in Google Analytics. So if you go to the overview, of course you can view the video once again, but you can see page by page how many people visit certain pages on your website, which is extremely useful. So you can analyze really what's going on each page of the website. You can also, very importantly, set up experiments. Experiments help you play with different landing pages to optimize your landing pages until you get the best result for each particular landing page of your website. And finally, Google Conversions. That's one of the most important functions of Google Analytics. Google Conversions helps you identify your goals, like for example, have people sign up for your e-newsletter, or have people buy your products, or have people go to certain page of your website. And achieving better conversions usually means more profit. Having said that, this is one of the most important aspects of Google Analytics. It belongs to advanced Google Analytics skills, and as you learn about Google Analytics, please pay particular attention to Google conversions. This is really something very important for your bottom line. So you just learned about Google Analytics, one of the most powerful and the most important tools for your success on the internet. Now let's move on and learn about Google AdWords. You are already familiar with Google AdWords. That's how you set up your campaign, your advertising pay-per-click campaigns. But let's see how you can use Google AdWords to analyze your success and to improve. Set up your own Google account, a Google AdWords account, and once you do it, then you will be able to run your campaign and later on to analyze various ad groups or various ads or keywords to see how they perform. In this particular case, I'm using an example of one of my former clients garden-inspired tourism website. Garden-inspired tourism, and they have advertised various gardens and tours and day trips and gardening as a term. They used to pay 50 cents for that. But it turns out that we actually organized their campaign in a couple of ad groups. One was just for tours. You remember the principles to be targeted. One was just for the term gardening, etc., etc. So here you can see that actually tours triggered 4,600 something clicks, and also gardens triggered quite a few as well, 4,200. The cost of each ad group in average was 24 for the first one and 21 for the second one, etc., etc. So now you got the idea. You need to go through these numbers and to see a couple of most important stats. Like for example, the one that I always look at is cost. And if you click here, you can actually arrange, you can sort different ad groups based on the cost that you are paying, cost per click. Also, you can see the other really important number is the impressions, number of impressions. And if you divide number of clicks by number of impressions, you're going to get this CTR, click-through rate. In other words, people saw this ad group 194,000 times, and they clicked only 4,600 times, which is actually 2%. And that's actually not just 2%. As you can see here, you have 0.6, which is kind of normal, 0.2, 0.25, and we have 2.39. Something is working really well with this ad group. And it's probably just because it's not just gardens too general, it's very targeted, day trips and tours. Even though we are paying a little bit more, it looks like this campaign, actually this ad group, is quite effective. What we can do also is track conversion, something that I didn't do for this particular client at that point of time. But if we had, for example, e-newsletter sign-ups or something like that, then we can track that and see what was the percentage of people who converted, which is extremely essential, I have to say. In addition to studying your ad groups, you can also study your various ads or keywords. Like this, in this particular case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ads. And as you can see, the very first ad triggered 4,600 something clicks. It resulted in 2.39, very high click-through rate. And let's try to see why is that. Nice heading of the ad, very specific, garden tours, day trips by garden-inspired tourism, and perhaps we could have added here an extension saying garden tours or beautiful gardens. So once again, this looks like very high CTR, click-through rate. There is, however, another ad that actually triggered 384,000 impressions. What does impression mean? Once again, that's how many times your ad was delivered or presented before someone's eyes on Google. In other words, how many impressions there were. So this particular ad was shown quite a few times, yet it didn't result in as many click-throughs, only 0.71, which is kind of okay, still kind of okay. And what else can we see? This particular ad, interestingly, was had the average position of 1.8, like that's almost like 2. All of them are pretty similar. I don't like to see position number 7 or 8 or 9 here, but being 1, 2, or 3 is actually the preferred scenario. So all of them are doing quite well here. So once again, we are having a look at various ads, and we are trying to see which of those ads work well. Very important number, once again, is this one, this column, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later as well. Another look is look at keywords. How are various keywords performing? In other words, for example, the keyword gardens is just too generic. We used to pay 19 cents for that, not as much. But the question is, did we really waste this money just because the word is so generic, so broad? So if I were to run that campaign now, I would of course set up conversion here, right, to check those conversions. First of all, I would need to identify the goal, and then I would try to see if this word, gardens, even though it's not too expensive, if it's really worth using it. Now I have to say that at that point of time, our goal wasn't really conversion. We tried extensively to create awareness. Awareness in BC about one new project, one new event, garden-inspired tourism. So those are the keywords. Let's see, we have one keyword, one phrase, Gardens, British Columbia, which is actually positioned at 1.2 among search results. Once again, what does this mean? It means that the ad was on the very top, in average on place number 1.2. Then also what we want to have a look at is this CTR number, 4% here and 5% here, quite high. And the total cost. Where's the total cost? Is here. So we are spending lots of money on this term, right? Which is something that I would want to check if this money is well spent on this term. So once again, we have analyzed ad groups and different ads and keywords, and we are starting to get an idea what ads, keywords, and ad groups perform well, and accordingly we might want to pay more or less for certain keywords and ads. Please also note this particular tab. It's called columns, and you can specify what kind of columns are going to have in this report. So if I click here, I can add or remove certain columns, and there are different types of tabs here. For example, performance measures, number of clicks, that's something that I already have, impressions, etc. Average cost per 1,000, that's something that I could add, and I can remove some of the stats that I might not need. In addition to performance, there are conversions, metrics, and the one that I might want to add is, for example, cost per estimated total conversion. So how much do I pay for each conversion? Very important piece of information. Finally, we have competitive metrics. For example, search impression share. Search impression share is something similar like market share. In other words, what kind of search share is our ad having? So it could be a number like 15% or 20% or something like that. Similar like market share, but it's just search impression share or search share. If the search share is really low, that means that our ad is not being shown. So those are some of the important metrics and columns that we might want to add in our reports. Finally, in our Google AdWords, there's a button called Tools. And what we might want to do is click on Google Analytics and use Google Analytics from Google AdWords account. In other words, we don't have to go back and forth to go from Google AdWords to Google Analytics, etc. What we can do is just access our Google Analytics through the tools. And finally, you remember the Keyword Planner, another very useful tool that we used to use when we learned about online marketing research, tool that can help you identify the right keywords. So those are some of the tools that are available with Google AdWords. Once again, use technique number 4, Google AdWords, to get very useful insights. How is your website performing in terms of advertising? Technique number 5, very popular, A/B testing. What is A/B testing? A/B testing is a statistical method that helps you determine which of the two options, A or B, are better in terms of conversion. You can compare different landing pages, different pages of your website, to see which one produces better result in terms of conversion. And as you know, conversion is number of sign-ups or sales or whatever. Or you can test different ads to see which one produces better click-through rates and response, or you can test different keywords. So whatever you test, you can determine if there is a statistically significant difference between two options. Let me take you to the website called Split Test Calculator and show you how it works. Let's say that, for example, in scenario A, we had 14,000 website visitors, and on the page B we had 6,800. On the page A we had 300 conversions, and on the page B we had 160 conversions. So let's see, for the time being, just use your logic, which one is better in your opinion. So A has more conversions, yet it has almost twice as many website visitors. So if you compare their conversion rates, you will see actually that panel B, scenario B, is better. It has slightly better conversion. So we are inclined to think that scenario B is now proven to be better. Yet, statistically, the big question is this difference significant? Or maybe it's just due to chance, due to statistical randomness. According to A/B test, in this particular case, when we calculate results, you will see that actually there is no winner. So in this particular scenario, we still don't know. We need to do more tests, maybe more visitors, and to extend our research before we can determine which of the two, A or B, is better. However, if we hypothetically say that we have here 210 conversions in the scenario B, it looks like we have a winner, and now the conversion here is 3.09 compared to 2.04, which is statistically significant difference, and now we can claim that scenario B works better, whatever scenario B is. Why is that important? Well, you can imagine that with better conversion rates, we actually get more profit. So this is extremely important test in the world of web analytics. Once again, the tool that can help you do A/B testing is called Split Test Calculator. However, there are more tools, like for example, Optimizely, one of the leaders in the field, can help you compare different landing pages, and you can even create your own URL, enter it here, and test it out. Here's one illustration how it actually works. One more time, you have two different landing pages. The original landing page has a conversion of 1%, however, slightly improved with more prominent Buy Now button, has conversion as high as 4.5%, which is the difference in terms of sales from 1,000 to 4,500. So at the end of the day, once again, better conversion leads to more profit. You can use A/B tests not only to compare different landing pages, but also to compare different ads. For example, which of the three ads is the best? If we compare this one ad, right, and the third one, then it's kind of obvious that probably this one with 0.71 is producing better results in terms of click-through rate. Why is that? Because in this scenario we have as many as 2,700 clicks compared to 650 here, with very similar number of impressions. Now let's see if the A/B test will confirm our hypothesis that really ad number 3 is better than ad number 2. I've entered those numbers in the split test calculator, and as you can see here, the click-through rates calculated based on dividing these two numbers, and it turns out that we do have a winner. Of course, the winner is B, scenario B, or that's in our case our ad number 3. However, if we compare ad number 2 and ad number 4, this blue one and the yellow one, we see very similar click-through rate, 0.23 and 0.21. Can we now make a judgment which of the two ads is better? I've entered those numbers into split test calculator as well. We see these click-through rates, and the winner is, do we have the winner? No, we don't have a winner yet. We don't know whether ad number 2 or whether ad number 4 is better. So at this point we cannot make a call, and we need to do more testing or change our ads. So now the next step, once we know the winner, is to keep the winner. Okay, that's the winner here, and to replace these ads with slightly better version of these ads, and then to test them again against the best ad in your group. We always keep the winner and drop the loser, and that's how we perfect our ad. I have to say this is one of my favorite techniques. I test different ads to see which one is going to be almost like the perfect ad. So once again, this is A/B testing, one of the most popular web analytics techniques. Website technique number 6, website optimization ROI. ROI stands for return on investment. If you go to this particular URL, you will find very useful website optimization calculator that can actually take some assumptions and test whether the hypothetical improved version of your website will actually pay. So in this particular scenario, we are going to assume that your current website has 10,000 visitors per month and that you have 50 new signups, 50 new sales conversions, which is actually, when you calculate it, turns out that this is 0.5 conversion rate. And let's also assume that you are running a business and selling a product or service that generates $250 per sales, $250 of net profit for you. So now this is your current situation. And now let's make some assumptions and say, okay, with a new website that, by the way, I'm going to pay $5,000, what can I expect really? Can I expect, say, 10% more traffic? Well, that's kind of reasonable assumption with a better website and the promotion and everything. Can you expect better traffic? Yes. And can you increase conversion by doing A/B testing and everything? Can you increase conversion by 10%? Say that in the past you had 0.5 and now you're going to have 0.55, which is 10% conversion improvement. Well, those are realistic assumptions. But the big question is, will this pay? Will this $5,000 really pay if we only increase traffic 10% and conversion 10%? Well, according to this calculator, the current value of your website, your sales, is $12,500, and the estimated future value is $15,125, which brings you incremental value of $2,600, which is 44% of monthly return on your investment. So it looks like this investment would pay. This $5,000 would actually bring more based on our assumption that your traffic will go 10% up and that your conversion will go 10% up. So very useful calculator on website clickz.com. It's called Website Optimization ROI Calculator. And now that I'm on that website, let me also show you a few more tools. If you type clickz.com/stats, you're going to get a couple of more calculators. We've just seen this one, but there is so-called CPA calculator and CPM calculator, cost per action and cost per 1,000, that help you with your advertising campaigns. For that purpose, however, I have created a special, our own calculator inspired by ClickZ calculators that helped us manage our campaigns for our clients. So that's my technique number 7. I'm going to show it to you in a few seconds. Search engine marketing ROI technique number 7. If you go to this address, you can download your own Excel file that will actually just require that you enter certain data based on your current advertising campaign, data that you can copy and paste from your Google AdWords account, and then calculate your return on investment on your Google AdWords campaign. So once again, this is specifically related to your search engine advertising and marketing campaign on Google AdWords or Bing and Yahoo, etc. So let me show you how it works. Here's the Excel. So the first step is really to enter these data here. These are the data that you need to enter, copy, paste from your Google AdWords. For example, last month you might have had 1,000 clicks, right? And you might have paid $0.5. And if we assume that you're going to achieve 1% conversion rate. So these 1,000, out of these 1,000 clicks, 1% will actually give you sales. And another thing that we need to enter is the average profit per customer. Say that you are selling a product or service that brings you a profit of $60 per customer. So we've entered these numbers. Those are our assumptions, or those are our numbers from your Google AdWords campaign. So these are now the results. Based on the above, 1,000 clicks and each click is 50 cents. It turns out that our cost of advertising last month was $500. We didn't have any other cost. Why did I put it here? Well, possibly you could have paid someone to manage your campaign, so might want to add a couple of dollars here. But in this scenario, we are assuming that there is no any other costs. So the monthly cost of your campaign is $500. We said that our conversion rate is 1%. That actually means that we had 10 conversions. And remember, each conversion is $60. So basically, our projected profit is $100. How do we know that? Well, we paid $500 and we made $600. $60 times these 10 conversions, which is $600. So if we calculate, really, our profit is the difference between $500, $600 and $500, which is $100, divided by 500, which is something that we invested. It looks like we are getting 20%. So once again, we are getting 20% on our $500 that we invested. So this is search engine marketing ROI calculator. You need to enter these numbers and then see if you are positive or not. And if you are positive, then as a result, you will continue your advertising, or you will even put more money into your advertising campaigns. This was the technique number 7, search engine marketing ROI calculator. And just to recap, we have learned about 7 web analytics techniques. Number 1, we started with website visibility report card. Number 2, you learn how to set up your own Webmaster's account and how to add your website to Webmaster's account, and how to start tracking the success of your website through Webmasters. Number 3, creating your own Google Analytics account and starting to track all kinds of traffic related numbers on your website. Number 4, tracking your advertising campaigns through Google AdWords. Number 5, A/B testing, a powerful way to test the difference between 2 websites or 2 ads. Number 6, website optimization ROI, answering the question, does it pay to optimize my website? Does it pay to build a new website? And technique number 7, search engine marketing ROI, how to calculate if your campaign on Google pays. So those are the 7 techniques which I hope will give you an overview of web analytics fundamentals. Thank you for watching and keep learning.